Hello everybody, welcome to another YouTube video. I'm Robelle Autonomy, and today we have another Zenless on Zero Drip Marketing. That's correct. We are looking at the wonderful Cissia. Alright, we saw her in the story quest. A lot of people are really curious about her character, really curious about what's going on with her, so let's take a look. Alright, let's take a super duper close look. Yesterday they drip marketed Nangdong Yu. Really excited for her, either stunner. But what exactly is Cissia? Everyone was guessing she's gotta be electric something after all. She has a clear shock collar on her neck. So let's take a look. Alright, there we go.
Sir, someone here apparently can't understand your very straightforward commission request. And that someone isn't me. Sir, someone here apparently can't understand your very straightforward commission request.
Sorry, it was really loud. Second off.
And that someone isn't me.
Second off. She's electric attack, bruh. Oh my goodness, it got 50 billion electric attack units already. Okay. I will say the music here, banger. Holy moly, I'm excited for the full version of the song.
Sir, someone here apparently can't
understand. Okay, so she has a spear of Longinus straight from flipping Evangelion.
Can't understand your very straightforward
and there's a snake, and we saw the snake already. We've already seen this character in the story, but we can take a closer look. Let's take a look here. Alright, AG Record Cissia, you guys and your whole love and responsibility and whatnot. How complicated. I just know one thing. If I like it, I sink my teeth in and don't let go. Straight from Cissia right there. Let me take a quick whiff to see if you got any snacks on you. If not, I can just take a little bite to tide me over. All this is for me. When a generous suspect, I hereby declare you're off the hook. But once my boats were in the hollow, don't count on me to bail you out. If things go south, you can bet I'll be the first one out of here. Alright, so you can tell she's a coward. She's an absolute coward. So she's from the Metropolitan Order Division. So it's not exactly PubSec in the normal sense. Interesting. So we already got a pretty good look at her design here. As I said, she has this shock color. It's right over here. I theorize on with a lot of other people. We theorize that she is probably like a convict or a criminal. And they're forcing her to work for PubSec with the... Because she literally has handcuffs and she has a, shock collar on there. So that could be the case. I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to wait and see. But she is kind of girl failure. She is kind of super duper girl failure. I feel like a lot of people are going to be really, really into that. It's interesting because I see a lot of people... I've seen so many mixed opinions on this character. Like... Oh, on one hand, a lot of... Not just the design, right? I think a lot of people are a little bit more satisfied with now that we've seen her in-game. I've seen some people complaining that she's not blue like the rest of PubSec, but it's right here. People will always complain before we know the full information, before we have all of the information we need. You can see Metropolitan Order Division. This is not the same as our other PubSec officers. Actually, you know what? Let me take a look real quick. Then it really takes me back. It takes me back, guys. Alright, we take a look down here. Criminal Investigation Special Response Team. So, yeah, it is a completely different part of the public security. Still the same faction, but not the same. It's not the same deal, alright? There's still public security, right? There's still New Era New public security, but it's a different division. The Metropolitan Order Division, whatever that is. I'm guessing that is the division that Seth's brother belongs to, Severian Lowell. If you haven't seen him yet in the story, I just spoiled it. You see Seth's brother. There's a lot of people thinking he's an NPC, but I think he looks a little too close in quality to Hugo Vlad to be just a simple NPC. And at the same time, if you pay attention to the Japanese voice actor, it's the voice for Sephiroth. So, needless to say, it's pretty obvious he's gonna be playable, or at the very least, he will turn into a major villain. He's gonna be major in some way, and the reason is because you don't just hire Sephiroth's voice actor. You don't just hire Final Fantasy VII Sephiroth's voice actor to make him an NPC. Alright, anyway, that's just some speculation from me. And back to Cissia here. Interesting character. I do, this is from my artist background, I do think that her design is of very big interest. She has this very clear red shirt here, and then a very high cut. Like, this is a separate piece. It's like a... I don't know what's going on here. She has a skirt, and then she has the flippin'... What are those called? The thing that holds your stomach in. I forget. Corset? Wait, no. Okay. You know what? Let me search it up real quick. I gotta figure it out. This is gonna bug me. For Kingdom Come. Hang on. I was right. It's called the corset. She has a very high cut, like a crop top shirt, and then a corset that's just on her bare skin. And then a skirt. So it's kind of a particular character design here. But if you look at this right, I'm gonna point out to my little bit of knowledge of character design here. I see like an Adam and Eve, like biblical theming here. Not to say that, this is a religious character. But what I'm saying is, we have this little snake with the green bow tie on it, and then right underneath apple red shirt here, it looks kind of apple-y with, with the boob shape or whatever. Alright, so it's like the apple with the leaf. Use a serpent design, and then if you look below here, we have something spinal. But I like to consider it, a reference to the rib in that, in that biblical story. They cooked the rib from Adam to make Eve. And that's what I think this character design has some inspiration from. The corset has a clear serpent scaling to it. It's really, really cool. And I just think it's really cool to see referential stuff like that. Like, it's clearly intentional, and I like that a lot. Like, she's got the handcuffs here, so it's like, okay, he's a criminal, and what does the snake do? It offered the forbidden fruit to Eve, and that kind of led to the concept of the first sin. And you know what? It's all interesting stuff. Not everyone's here to discuss religion, but to put this in the story, not even the story, forget the story, just to put this in the character design, you see these designers are digging deep, and it does make me curious, like, is this a character that's gonna, bring the player into some into some sinful thoughts? There you go, that's what I was thinking. It's definitely... I also love this pom-pom in her hair, this little ball here. I think it probably has to deal with, like... It's a cotton snake or whatever, a cotton head. I don't know too much about snakes. Is it cotton head, cottontail? I have no idea. Actually, I'm gonna Google it. Hang on. You guys are getting a lot of pauses from me. This is a character where I don't know too much about what's going on here. And it's making me seek out this knowledge, and that's the interest here. Alright, I've done research. It is cottonmouth. That's the type of snake I'm thinking of. Although, and I don't know if I apologize if it was a bad word. But apparently, cottonhead is also slang. It's used to describe somebody that's silly or forgetful, which fits this character. I hope it's not a bad word. If it is, I deeply apologize. I deeply, deeply apologize. But if not, hey, it's pretty funny. I do really like her eyes. I'm just like staring at them. Her eyes are like so piercing. I'm so curious as to how he's gonna play as an electric attack unit. Now, here's the thing. Alright, we're already 8 minutes in. If you watched this far, please let me educate you on this. I guarantee you everyone is gonna see electric attack. They're gonna see electric attack and they are going to say easy skip. But please keep in mind, we have attack units that come in all kinds of styles, play styles, and what I mean by that, I'm not just saying how they play differently. We're gonna use a key example here, alright? So we look at Soldier 11, alright? Fire attack unit. She attacks on field, sustained DPS. After her buff, she gained a little bit of burst damage, but mainly a sustained DPS that stays on field. Alright, you look at Evelyn, burst DPS. Alright? You use her on field, but all her damage is in that stun window. You save all your resources for that moment, and she does all her damage there. Alright, now here's the important part, alright? Orphe is a fire attack agent as well. Alright, we're using Soldier 11, Evelyn, and Orphe as our example. Orphe, everyone saw her and she went, oh, Orphe Magus, attack, fire. I have Evelyn already, I have Soldier 11 already. I'm skipping, we don't need that because we have that already. But Orphe did something completely different than Soldier 11 and Evelyn. So we have to keep that in mind. This could be the exact same case. You can't just assume based off of the different roles that the game has assigned, because the game has already established this. They've already established that the different kinds of roles don't matter. The characters do whatever the heck they want, alright? The role is only there for them to balance the different characters' extra passives. So it's like if you want an attack unit, you have to use them with another attack unit for this character, or something like that. For all we know, Cissia could be an off-field electric attacker that does something interesting. Right? Or she could just be like the ultimate burst DPS and just synergize with Xingyi, which that could be a deal here. But like, what I'm saying is, everyone thought Orphe was just going to be another on-field attacker, it's fire, and everyone skipped her. No, her banner sales weren't crazy. And then, well, what do you know? She's an off-fielder, aftershock agent, and a lot of people didn't realize that she gave a buff too, and so Orphe ended up being a tier 0 unit that really like helped wheelchair characters. So wheelchair is a term we see in Genshin Impact where there's characters with moon wheels that carry other DPSs up. But my point is just Orphe ended up being like one of the ultimate units to have on your account. And I say that, you know, objectively. I'm not saying this as like the biggest Orphe fan, because I am a big Orphe fan, okay? There is bias here, but I am saying this like it's objectively true. She is a tier 0 unit, she does too much for the team, and he isn't a traditional fire attacker. And what I'm saying is Cissia probably has a decent chance of being exactly that. I don't think they would make another on-field attack agent that's also electric. I don't think they do it in the traditional manner. Like, you look at her, she's a coward character. I don't think she wants to be on-field. I think she'll be an off-field unit that's going to be attacking enemies while they're distracted fighting whoever else you have on-field. That's my assumption. If anything, maybe it's even more true because you look at Orphe and Magus, and she does that spin move that sucks all the enemies into one spot, so it's easier for you to burst them down. And it does a ton of AoE damage. And Magus is a gigantic long tail with a lot of reach because it shoots a laser. Alright, Magus shoots a laser, and so she is pretty useful in that aspect. When you look at Cissia here, she has one of the biggest tails I've seen in the game. She's a snake, right? It has super duper long snake tail to kind of give that. Like, I bet when she walks around, it slithers on the floor. That would be pretty interesting to see. Maybe it's harder to animate that though, especially in like regards to interaction with stairs. They might not do that actually. When I'm thinking about it, yeah, maybe it doesn't want to interact with the stairs. We'll have to wait to see her gameplay. She also has that really long spear. If she grabs the spear with her tail, I imagine her reach and range are gigantic. She could be an AoE unit because if you look at all our current electric units, well, electric attackers, they don't really have a lot of AoE. Like Silver Envy has like a decent amount. Harumasa's primarily single target. He's gotten a little bit of AoE with his buff. Seed is pretty single target. Anton is pretty single target. Hey, maybe she could be on field, though you just give her hecka AoE. I don't know. I have no idea, but let's take a look at her agent record here. Alright, here we go. So who should public security? Me, come on! Quit it with the horror stories and ask the question of how she became a case specialist. Her reimbursement statements this month are 3 storefront windows, 1 old energy module sedan, and 27 bowls of omelette rice. Don't ask more questions, just wire to the chief's personal account. These case specialists never expense through official channels, and they don't need proper reasons either. A financial accounting specialist from the Metropolitan Order Division while briefing a newcomer. My evaluation of working with her, she's the type of colleague who would never share her lunch. Selfish yet endearing in her own way. That's really surprising, because when Jane introduced her in the story, Jane was like, she looked upset. She's like, I don't want to work with this person. I don't want to deal with it. But I guess Jane does find her endearing. Well, in quote-unquote her own way. So maybe it's not as attached as we realize. Maybe it's more of those things where it's like they bicker and don't get along, but actually they're very deeply caring for each other. Her legs always give out the moment she sees me. Could it be that I'm greeting her too loudly as Ju-Yuan? I mean, Ju-Yuan is a perfect model cop, so it makes sense that Cissia, who's a little bit more under the radar, it makes sense that she'd be a bit nervous around Ju-Yuan. Probably just to upkeep, her appearances. But that's basically our drip marketing for Cissia. I gave my thoughts. On how I think she's probably gonna be off-field electric. This still blows my mind. Electric attack. I really thought that she was gonna be electric rupture. But I guess she's another electric attack. Again, guys, I think... Now, we don't know her kid yet, so don't use this as a whole idea on if you should pull her or not, because I don't know the future. But I think she is going to be off-field, and I think that's going to make her incredibly valuable. Which sucks, because she's right after the Angels of Delusion, making her she's in a really bad spot. Pulling her is going to be a bit rough if everyone's pulling for Nangong and Arya and Cinna back to back. Now, of course, not everyone's pulling the Angels of Delusion. I know a lot of people don't really vibe with the cutesy aesthetic, and so they've been waiting for a hot character. Here you go, here's her hot character. And by all means, she's pretty good. Alright, she's pretty good. I feel like everyone's gonna be attached to her. Or maybe she might get on some people's nerves, because she did kind of push the proxy around a little bit in that story quest. I can see some people getting a bit upset about that. But I don't know. I feel like people will get her just for her personality alone. Here's hoping she's actually good, and not just another electric attack agent. I know for a fact, all of my VTuber friends that play this game, I'm the one that's into Zenless Zone Zero the most. I'm going to go and send this to them, and all of them are gonna hit me with the another electric attack. That means she's an easy skip. I guarantee you they're gonna hit me with that. I'm gonna give them the same lowdown that I give you guys. That is that she's probably gonna be off-field, or they're gonna do something that's gonna make her valuable and, different than the other electric attack agents. Because right now, you look at, Silver Onbi versus Seed, and the difference between the two, Silver Onbi does a lot more damage at this point with her buffs, but Seed is very, very easy to play. It's very, very comfortable to play Seed. Lots of iframes, lots of fun. Alright, and then you look at Harumasa. Harumasa does all this damage in the stun window. And when he does all this damage in the stun window, he does a lot of damage in the dang stun window. My goodness. So I'm curious to see. And the Ambi's kind of does to both worlds a little bit. She's a little harder to play, but you can also build her as a burst DPS if you want to. But I find that just keeping her on field works best with her Aftershock team. I'm curious. Because if you look at, we think electric, right? That means that we can assume she's gonna have synergy with Xingyi because they're the same division, or not division, the same faction, right? It's different division, same faction, and so it makes you wonder if she's gonna have that synergy with Xingyi. If Xingyi's stun window is gonna be applicable to Cissia, but then if Cissia is off field, makes you wonder, what if maybe the whole idea is Cissia acts kind of like Orphe? And she builds up the bar the same way as Orphe. She builds up a bar from attacking off-field. But for Cissia, her bar turns her into the DPS during the stun window. And then so she uses that resource from filling up that bar. She uses it during the stun window to do unholy amounts of damage for that synergy with Xingyi. Oh no, don't do this to me. That means I'd have to pull her for Xingyi, because I'm a big Xingyi fan, being a robot and all, Alright, robots go crazy, guys. They go crazy. Anyways. I don't know. I don't even know if I can pull her. I'm just literally gonna be right after the Angels of Delusion. I'd have to get insanely lucky. And also because of the rumors, alright? They showed us another Krampus character, and the devs said that we're gonna see more Krampus characters for Season 2, which means next patch. That blue-haired character that looks kinda like Makoto from Persona 3, but is actually a woman, that character is gonna be... That's probably gonna be the patch right after that, so... Within 2.8 is gonna be that. And then... I'll be honest, everyone's saying this. It's not even leaks, it's just rumors, and the game seems to be suggesting it. Word on the street is that the final character of Season 3 is gonna be S-Rank Billy, and by all means, it makes total sense. It makes total sense. Alright, you look at the story, Billy just randomly shows up, they give him a really specific line about how robots do things that are... or how constructs do things that you never see coming. And then also like they put him on the flippin' story summary page. And then also, and this is more important here, if you read the internet after the story, there is some information about a person that has something to do with Caledon, a character of some kind, and if we all know Billy's story, and not everyone does, because not everyone paid attention to his trust event. Alright, Billy used to be a member of Caledon, not the Sons of Caledon. Sons of Caledon is the successor to Caledon. Caledon was that old crew from way back. We're talking years and years back. The crew that Big Daddy was a part of before the Sons of Caledon was formed. Alright, before Caesar made her own gang, the Sons of Caledon. Alright, Billy was part of Caledon, and he was feared. People would run at the sight of him. Hearing his name struck fear into the hearts of raiders everywhere. And so, with that in mind, the devs said, alright, and this isn't leaks again, alright, I have to make this clear, this isn't leaks, I'm discussing information we know. Alright, the devs said in the live stream, and this is like a 2.4 live stream, it was the one where they spoiled everything, the one where they had to explain what the Spook Shack was, because nobody understood what the Spook Shack was. Alright, but those very same devs, what they said is, a familiar friend is gonna lead us into Season 3. And guess who's a familiar friend? Billy. And Anvi already got her S rank, and the Cunning Hairs are like the face of Zenless on Zero, right? Do the face of Zenless on Zero. So I'm like, I bet Nicole is gonna get an S rank, Billy's gonna get an S rank. Nekomata, she's already an S rank, but she may as well be an A rank, so I'm sure she'll get her buff one day and she'll get to shine in the light again. But my point stands. My point stands. S-rank Billy's around the corner, which means pulling for Cissia is even harder for me. It's even harder for me because I have to pull back to back to back, and I'm trying to save pulls. Alright, I said it myself. I'm not gonna be able to M6 my dear Arya on her first run, but on her rerun, I'm gonna M6. And what does that mean? That means I gotta start skipping people. And here's the other issue, alright? If 2.8 is gonna be the other Krampus girl and Bill S-rank Billy, the Billy is an assumption, by the way. That's not confirming or anything. It's all leaks. Alright? We have nothing on that. That's my educated guess. Alright, and after 2.8, it's probably gonna be Season 3, 3.0. And you know what that means? That means we're gonna get another Void Hunter level character, alright? Maybe not a Void Hunter, but Void Hunter level. Alright, we all know Yishuan's not a Void Hunter. Yishuan's not a Void Hunter, but she's Void Hunter level. Alright, Void Hunter is not the term we should be using to scale the characters. Void Hunter level. There's two Void Hunters in the game, Miyabi and Yishuan Guang. Yishuan is the same set, she's Grandmaster. If anything, that's on the same level as the Void Hunter. And so, they did that for Season 2, right? Season 3, I imagine they hit us with a character that we didn't see coming. And that's gonna be our, must-pull unit. And, well, actually, as much as Yishuan is a must-pull unit, I pulled Yishuan and then didn't pull her W engine, didn't pull any of her supports, I didn't get Jafufu, it was a bread and butter situation, it was get Yishuan and then start coping because I was saving for Orphe at that point. And so, my point is, Yishuan was kinda like, she did not feel good to play without all of her supports. Once you get all of her supports, she becomes OP beyond all reason. Like, we're talking like more than Miyabi. But the thing is, Miyabi, what made her so good is she worked in every possible team, right? You could throw her on any team, basically. Well, it's not any team, but she was strong in so many different team comps that it almost didn't matter how you used her. So she felt good no matter what. But Yishuan, it was like, there was more power there if you set it up properly. But you need that setup, you need to pull out for characters. So, what I'm saying is, if we have Cissia into that purple-haired girl, into Billy, and all those three are already like very tempting. They're like the type of things that you know the players are gonna pull for. Then 3.0 happens, and we have to get that must-have Void Hunter level unit. I guarantee you, it's gonna be a bread and butter situation. You're gonna need that butter, alright? If she's the bread, or he's the bread, I don't know if it's gonna be a girl or a boy, but it's Amazon Zero. It's probably gonna be a girl because waifus sell, you know what I mean? But it's gonna be a bread and butter situation. The first character you're gonna need it's gonna be a peanut butter jelly situation. If you get the peanut butter, you're gonna need the jelly. And so, anyway, that's my rant. Alright, I just wanted to let you guys know what's probably happening, what I think is gonna be happening. And what does that mean? That means that we're in for a rough ride if we're gonna be saving our pulls, guys. Cissia might seem like an easy skip, but I guarantee you guys, she's gonna tempt us. She's a snake, and she's gonna offer us herself as a forbidden fruit, and it's gonna be tempting. So anyway, that's what I think. That's everything. I think I've ranted long enough. This is 25 minutes almost. My goodness, that's more than the Nangang Yu video. But I went into all. We have all the information now, alright? We can make the educated guess for the rest of season 2. We know what's happening now, so that's everything. By the way, I'm gonna tell you all this right now, alright? I'm saying Cissia seems like, you know, she's actually gonna be pretty important in terms of like for account value. That's what I feel. I'm also gonna say Nangang Yu, probably the same level in terms of account value. Ether, Stunner, and I'm willing to bet. I thought about it. Alright, yesterday I said Nangang Yu. I said Nangang Yu is probably gonna be like for the Angels of Illusion, right? But I thought about it, she's gonna be also for like, I think she's gonna be general. In the same way that Suna works for the Angels of Illusion, and then after that she doesn't work with Anomaly really whatsoever, except for just the Angels of Illusion, and she's actually a really good attack buffer. I think it's gonna be the same deal with Nangang Yu. I think she's gonna be really good as, you know, the Anomaly Stunner for the Angels of Delusion. But after that, I bet she's gonna be really good for other units, whether it be like attack units or rupture units. I think that stun from Nangang Yu is gonna be valuable. Like, I really think that Dial-In, when you put her with Yi-Swan, that might not be the deal anymore. Dial-In might have gone replaced on Yi-Swan team. Or maybe not. Again, we don't have the kit. But that's a possibility, and that's something you guys gotta consider. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you enjoyed my yapping, my Google searching of the different aspects of this character Cissia here. I did a lot of learning this video, alright? I did more learning than normal. Normally I just spew out what I think, but let me know what you think down below. Are you gonna be pulling for Nangang Yu? Are you gonna be pulling for Cissia? Alright, do you think that she is going to be an easy skip just because she's of attack? Or do you know what's up? Do you have that little suspicion that the devs are actually planning something a little bit more sinister to make sure that we pull for her? Alright, let me know down below in the comments. Let me know your pulling plans. Let me know what you thought of 2.7. Or what you think of what is happening in 2.7 with our Cissia and Nangang Yu. Alright, and if you aren't subscribed and you watched this far, hit that subscribe button! What are you doing? Alright, you watched this far into the video. You watched me react to a PNG for 27 minutes. That means you enjoyed the content. You may as well subscribe so you can see more of me. I'm here to entertain you after all. Anyways, with that one, hope you all had a good one. Remember, Nintendo Jimmy, so I will see you all next time. Bye!